Talofa. Let me first thank my chairman, Mr. Westerman, for appointing me to serve as chair of the House Natural Resources Committee's bipartisan task force on the Indo-Pacific. Thanks also to Chairwoman Hageman. As a prelude to today's proceedings, we conducted a task force hearing in July on PRC, COFA, and the territories with the valued support and leadership of Task Force Co-Chair Kilili Sablan. This hearing truly is a homecoming for me, having lived here and graduated from the University of Guam, but this hearing is also about the Marshall Islands, where my family lived for years when my father was appointed head of government under the administration of President Eisenhower and Interior Secretary Seaton in the darkest days of the Cold War. And at that time, the shadowy world of creeping communism, totalitarianism, was nightmarishly illuminated by ominously frightful over-the-horizon flashes emanating from 67 nuclear weapon tests in the Marshalls. Nuclear testing ended shortly before my father was sent to take the first steps to restore a post-nuclear testing civil order, which literally included his own footsteps across atomic bomb craters on his inspection at Bikini and Enuetak. And we meet here in the southernmost of the Mariana Islands to hear from the governor of the northernmost of the Mariana Islands, where my family lived for 12 years, while my father represented President Kennedy and Secretary of the Interior Udall in relations with the Northern Marianas, Marshall Islands, Palau, Yap, Pohnpei, Chuuk, and Kosrae. So I join this homecoming with my father's spirit close in my heart and in my mind, aware that much of it was in the Cold War era under the UN trusteeship. Guam and the CNMI formed the westernmost of America's homeland at the doorstep of Asia in the time zone adjacent to Tokyo's. We are here as a committee because Guam and CNMI truly are the northern keystones in the architecture of what since 1945 has been mostly a free and open Pacific. In this new era, America's allies in Palau, FSM, and RMI form the integrated superstructure of regional security and peace. Once as a child mentored by my father and other leaders of the Pacific nations who so often sat at our dinner table, and now as an elected leader in this region, I understand in a very profound way how and why the UN trusteeship, our compact of free association, stood for decades against Soviet imperialism as a threat to democracy and post-colonial free enterprise under rule of law. Now we're facing the threat of the once concealed but now overt velvet-gloved hand of PRC ambitions that hides the iron fist of PRC totalitarian communist imperialism. Thus, we come here under Chairman Westerman's leadership to regroup and confront together the PRC's threat to the freedom of the blue continent that stretches across the Indo-Pacific region. Of course, the American homeland also reaches deep into the southern Pacific, where American Samoa's alignment with the U.S. is foundational to a free and open regional order. And I have the honor of serving first and foremost my own people in my family's true homeland, where my father was elected and served with both great dedication and success as governor. So it's in that spirit of homecoming that I want to commend each of my fellow Pacific Islanders who are witnesses today. In addition to your oral testimony, I urge my colleagues to study your written statements for the record. We gather here in the Pacific Way, but you have spoken your truth here today boldly. In that same spirit, my question to each witness is based on the powerful statement written by the governor of the CNMI that exposes PRC methods and tactics to opportunistically exploit our needs and weaknesses. Let me say that when I run out of time, and I'm about to, I'm going to ask each of these witnesses to please submit the answers for the record, please. We can learn from Governor Palacios how PRC uses illegal influence in a democracy to corrupt and destroy democracy. PRC invests in free enterprise with political warfare instead of profit motives to destroy free enterprise. Without naming names or specific economic sectors or institutions that are under attack, please tell us if you are aware of PRC political warfare tactics going on today in your islands. Is it getting worse year by year? Are your governments becoming more effective in restoring the rule of law? And finally, again, without revealing specific cases, is U.S. law enforcement and U.S. Department of Justice cooperating in any criminal investigations you are pursuing? Now I have 35 seconds. Perhaps one witness could answer and the other submit it for the record. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Yes, we will do that. I will further submit also a written response to your questions. Yes, we see it. We absolutely see it. With the geopolitical sands shifting in the Indo-Pacific region, we saw what was going on. So luckily, when the pandemic closed down our economy and all the flights coming into the Northern Marianas, that was sort of a blessing, because we have almost half of our tourism industry, our visitors were coming in for PRC. Over 200,000 tourists in 2019. That's significant.
Thank you, Governor. And I'll look forward to getting the rest of your written answers in the near future. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.